Hey guys, I'm John.
I'm Eric.
And this is Nala. Welcome to Knifemaking Tuesdays, week 30. Blade Show is just around the corner and we are struggling to... No, not struggling. We are...
Hustling?
Hustling to get ready.
Every day I'm hustling.
So you have seen that video. Just now I have completed the first set of handles, just the backside operation. Last week's video explained that in detail. Eric is running a full batch of that right now. Let's take a close look. Full batch of handle backsides ready to run. So we're chugging along with this first batch of handles. The engravings went and they turned out great. All the holes get drilled, except on this side they sort of screwed up because I sort of screwed up. If you'll notice, this handle right here has a hole right here. That doesn't belong there. Same for that one. Same for that one. And over here, notice a hole right in front of my finger, chewed into the handle a little bit. Hole right here chewed in, and a hole right here. Those aren't supposed to be there. Basically, this hole is supposed to be 1.5 inches down that way. And this hole is supposed to be 1.5 inches down that way. I got my offsets wrong, and I feel really stupid. So now I have 3 handles with holes near the back where they don't belong. Oh, I wonder if the pocket clip will cover that up. Awesome-tasticalness. We just finished our second full batch of handle backsides. Basically going from this to this. Not huge noticeable differences, but the bearing is pocketed, holes are spotted, stop pin hole is drilled and reamed, detent ball hole is drilled, spot drilled and then drilled. Norseman first run May 2012, engraved there. Lanyard hole is drilled and reamed, doesn't have to be reamed, but I've done it anyway. Oh, and lock bar access groove thingy done on that side. So we're halfway through the batch of handles. Got 2 more runs to do. I'm going to do 1 more tonight. It's currently 1 a.m. 1 more run tonight, and then we'll do the next one first thing in the morning. And then we can flip the handles over and do the top side. Alright, we're going to do more tapping like we did last week. I'm going to use Ultra Lube actual tapping cutting fluid. Nice. Trick is you gotta make it go backwards. The thread's too fine to reverse itself.
Huh.
Really weird. So there was pocketing where the screw heads go. Here it's going to rough out the lock bar cutout. Got 3 sets of handles made while we're testing out the code, making sure it works perfect before we ruin, 40 of them. So this is the first set of handles that I made. I'll let you give a close-up zoom here. If you'll notice, the finish is kind of rough and chattery. There's grains everywhere. It rubbed, didn't cut so well. So I'm not too happy with that. And I even did go over it with my Scotch-Brite wheel. So you can see the tips are kind of rounded over. That's cool. But the cut itself is kind of ugly looking. So I deducted that my end mill was toast. And I've used this kind of as a beater for quite a while. This is an IMCO carbide end mill. And you look at it, you can't see it probably, but the tips are looking kind of dull. So I went to my local tool store and I got new end mill. This one here is it's a cheap Korean brand called YG. And I'm sort of, I like using good tools, not cheap tools, but they recommended it and they said it's really cheap. So if you're going through a lot of them, it might be worth it. The other difference you can notice is the length. The IMCO here is a stub length, a short one, and the YG is a long length. Usually I like stub length a lot because you add a lot of rigidity. The longer it is, the more flexy it is. But checking the calculations in GWizard, it shows that the extra length for this size of an end mill does not matter. It's not going to deflect at all. So I tried that out. And these new ones are the result. So there's a tiny bit of chatter or run out. Like you can see there's little waves in every one. But that's mostly just due to the, I don't know, something's not totally concentric, I think, because it does it everywhere, even right in here. But it's way brighter, way shinier, way crisper, smoother, so I really like that. Super happy with how that's turned out. As I'm looking at it on the little screen here, it doesn't look like much of a difference, but all that crappy rubbing and stuff is gone, so that's the important part. So yeah, I got a little chamfer in the front here, thumb groove right there. The bolt heads line up nicely. Bearing pocket on the inside, stop pin hole, lanyard hole in the back. And here's the lock side, all finished. Norseman first run, May 2012, even though today's June. These turned out sweet. The corner rounder turned out awesome. Trying a new, been trying to figure out a cool way to do the lock bar cutout. So you can see I got 3 different styles here. This one just sort of was a mistake. This one I tried to do a 3D milling. It looks really cool in the middle, but it looks like crap around the outside. And then this one is what I'm going to start doing it now, basically. Except with not quite a big chamfer. But yeah. So everything is turning out nicely. Got the lock bar cut out. The thickness left here is 5 thou shallower than what I wanted it to be, so I just changed the code a little bit to do that because it's a little soft. So just add 5 thou and it'll be a little bit stronger. Eric's out here making incredible progress. Check it out. Turned out good, huh?
It did. I like that.
It's our honeycomb. Alright, update on project. Oh my goodness, Blade Show is a couple days away. First batch of handles finished. Everything went perfectly except for the very last tool. The tiny little 1/16 inch end mill to cut out the lock bar slot. And it does it halfway down once, does the slice, and then goes all the way down and slices it off. Now the problem is when it goes all the way down and it slices it off, then there's nothing holding it in place, so the bar just kind of vibrates. And as it's doing the last finish pass, the bar vibrates, and I was worried about the tool breaking, and it totally did. It got through 1 handle, 2 handle, 3 handles. On the finish pass, that worked fine, and on the third one, it must have broken because the piece was in the third one right there. So then it just did air cutting for all these other ones we were inside. I have one more tool like that. I'll probably go buy more tomorrow morning, but what I think I'm going to do is, instead of cutting all the way down and cutting it off, I'm going to cut almost all the way down and leave the tiniest little hairline of material underneath, so that at least the lock bar isn't flopping around. And I just broke another end mill. Those 1/16 end mills are very tiny. It cut this one just fine. It left a tiny little bit at the bottom of the lock bar. Perfect. This one, it's not that it cut deeper, it's just that, I don't know, it didn't leave enough material, so I could actually hear this thing buzzing around a little bit. And when this is buzzing, then the cutter's buzzing, and it just tore it a new one. So I stopped it before I even got to that one. So that sucks balls, because it's 9:48 p.m. I was going to run another set of handles tonight. But now I can't until tomorrow when I buy new tools. So I'm working on batch number 2 of the front side of the handles. And I got the tapping head back in. Last run, Eric did the tapping and he said it worked really good. He tapped the whole plate with just the one tap. His suggestion was to take the lube and to put a dollop of lube on every screw hole. That way when the tap is going in, it gets automatically covered with lube. I like that. A very smart gentleman. Guess I could put some on the tap itself. Can't hurt. Just gotta watch it and make sure that it does reverse every time. Yeah. I wonder if the tapping head is loosening up a little bit. Since I haven't used it much. It's kind of breaking in or something, I don't know. Because previously it wouldn't reverse so easily. So while doing my diamond pattern, the end mill, because everything's packed so tightly, the end mill smashes into these cap head screws. It takes a really nice bite out of crime, which unfortunately takes a big chunk out of my end mill every time. You can see there's a chunk right there on top missing. Big chunk there missing. Little chunk, well, decent chunk there. Mostly just on the sides of this one, luckily. The tip where all the cutting action is happening is still good. However, this is my second ball mill that I've torn up because of this. Ideally, button head screws would be better because they don't go up as high, less material to smash into, but maybe I'll get those later. For now, we do what we can, and if I have to go through end mills to make this happen, that's what I do. These take a long time to run, actually. Probably the longest operation is this handle top side. It's longer than the blades, longer than the handle back side, longer than anything else. So, interesting little development here. This operation is where I change from the big bolts to the small bolts being held on from the inside, so that I can go around the part, cut off the tabs and all that. Most of them worked pretty good, but I happened to notice this one is caving in. Hopefully you can see that. The bolt head is actually crushing the metal, because remember on the back side of that there's a bearing pocket. So it's not very thin, but it's thick enough to hold it. However, this particular one is caving in. Now I think I figured out what happens. Because remember, my ball mill smashes into those big nuts, causes all kinds of noise and vibration for a fraction of a second, and then continues to do the cuts. I think when it smashes in, either the end mill is pulling out just the tiniest bit, or the tool holder itself is actually pulling out of the machine the tiniest bit. Because I measured the depth here, to here, to here, to here, to here, and every one gets a little bit deeper. And this one is 0.010 of an inch deeper than the first one, which sucks. So I'm going to say that something is pulling out every time it hits a bolt, because it's like a linear progression. Deeper, deeper, deeper. I've measured the fixture, it's totally flat. I've measured all my honeycomb pockets, they're all within 0.002 of each other. So it's not like the fixture is tilted or anything. So to fix that, I think right before this tool, I'm going to use a 1/4 inch flat end mill, and I'm going to purposely carve out every bolt hole, or every bolt where the end mill would normally hit, so that it won't hit. And I can use a purposeful end mill at the right speeds to chop those bolts off where they need to be. Because this handle is probably useless now. I might be able to hammer it, or press it flat or something, so we'll see. But it's kind of funny how much waste you make trying to make cool parts that are perfect. How many tools you break, how much material you have to practice with, how many garbage parts you end up with. It kind of sucks. So here it's going in and cutting off all the tabs. And then after this, it's going to profile every single one. So right now it is profiling everyone down to size. Crunch time, crunch time, crunch time! What you doing?
Just buffing out the handles, rounding the edges, making sure they're all nice and soft.
Nice and purty for everybody's purty hands.
Yeah.
Sweet! Got some finished and buffed handles here. So we buffed the top surface, but not the inside pockets. So they still have that wicked swirly. She is coming along. We're getting there. Our pile of raw handles is much smaller. These ones are all finished. They still have to be buffed. Sometimes the corner rounder goes too deep, so we got to sand that off and buff it down. And for one of these, I think it was, I forget. This one, as it's coming around this back corner, there's a screw in here. It actually unscrewed it, so the whole end lifted up. But yeah, those are kind of no big deal to fix. Ideally, like, this one turned out perfect. The corner rounder, just perfect. No lip, perfect round. Love it. Still got to write code for the pocket clips. We got one more big batch of handle top sides that I'm just about to start now. And then after that, just a few leftovers, so we'll do a small batch of that. Anyway, that's crunch time. Today is Saturday. We leave on Wednesday morning. Pretty much everything is working right now. Machine's working, Eric's working, I'm working. Nice. Just gotta throw some color on this guy and then it's done. Check this out. Paramilitary 2, Norseman. Oh yeah. So I'm over in this corner of the shop when the machine's cutting off the tabs and I hear this incredible thunk and thwack and I'm like, what the heck was that? Obviously the end mill broke off because there's a bolt right there that I forgot to take out because I'm an idiot. And it's trying to cut off that tab. Obviously it can't. So that was an expensive mistake. So right off the machine, most of them look about like this. Some of them have a nasty burr there. You know, the surface is kind of dark and lots of scratches in it when you look real close at it. And all the edges, you know, have minor end mill chatter. Not a big deal. And the honeycomb is really sharp edges, you know, sharp corners on all the edges and stuff. But once they're all finished, they look like that. Lots of Scotch Brighting, some disc sanding. Look at that. Oh, that's nice. Little shout out to my buddy Norman, Knuckle Tools. Yeah, that's for you, buddy. So yeah, quite a big difference from machined to finished. These look wicked, but that's where the handmade aspect comes in, is, you know, they're hand finished. Every one. That's what Eric's doing right now. Check it out! I made a disc sander. This has been a side project for the past few weeks. I'm going to be, at some point in the future, I'm going to be posting an entire video on how I built all this and what components there are and all that, but for now, let's just use it. I built the disc myself, so it does wobble. No surprise. But you know what? It does what I need it to do. And before Blade Show, that's all that really matters. So obviously it's not done, it needs a rest. You know, a plate here to put my parts. It's kind of dangerous the way it is now, but it's just temporary. So I'm working on the pocket clips now. There's a water jet blank next to a mostly finished pocket clip. It's going nice and quick and perfectly first time, which I love. Had to make a few little tiny tweaks, but that's okay. So basically, as with all the other prototypes, I do one up in the corner, and then I unlock the code that does the whole subroutine all the way down. It'll do 24 at a time, or 22, I guess. So now I just have to flip the part over and practice machining the other side. So third try is a charm. This top one's the original one I made on my Grizzly mill like a long time ago. Here's the first one that I made today, except it didn't quite finish. What's happening is this part is getting too thin and it just rips off, and then like it originally has 2 tabs, right? When it machines this side, it just goes deep, and then this sort of breaks off and vibrates, and then the whole thing cocks to the side. So it ruins that. So I changed that, third try, let's see what happens. But aside from those little issues, this thing looks incredible. So this is what stupid 3 a.m. mistakes make you. It's morning now, but I wrote this last night. See, the clip holes are supposed to be nicely chamfered, like that, like that, like that. What? Not like that. Idiot. Yeah, I got one number wrong, so this whole row is toast. Pretty much useless. Luckily it's only 5 and not like all of them. So that's okay. I have 5 extra. But yeah, that was sucky. Sweet! All my clips are done. I leave the cutoff tabs really thin, and the ones on the bottom here, sort of, this one's still barely attached. This one flew off. Not a big deal. They're very much still good. Eric has been a busy beaver, polishing all these up. There's a few that we're going to tumble, but most of them we're going to leave silver. Or, you know, bright. All these ones are going to stay bright. We're going to anodize them whatever color we want, but... yeah. You can see our 2 different patterns. The honeycomb and the diamond texture. Honeycomb. Yes. Yes, 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 yes. So now that all my pocket clips are machined, there's quite a bit of little finishing work to do on them. Which I don't mind doing, but being machined, it'd be nice if they were more perfect coming off the machine. That's a relatively good one. See a big burr on the top edge there, right there. And if you look in the front, see how it sort of tapers to a point? It needs to be ground down so that the point is nice and rounded too, like that one. There's a before and an after. Polish the surface down. So all these have to be done like that, which is done on a combination of the disc sander and the Scotch-Brite wheel. Check out what I just made. And by just, I mean I've been messing with this for the past 18 hours on and off. This is a gang tooling clampy thingy for turning your milling machine into a lathe. Solid bar steel. I can't go into detail right now because I just don't have time. But I'd love to do an entire video on this at some point in the future, and I definitely will. Anyway, it holds lathe tools, turns parts. So I've got a whole direct center, and I'm going to zero. That's going to be 0, 0, and then we'll go from there. Eric just brought home a very tasty package. 42 blades, hard. A little bit of discoloration, they're a bit yellow, goldy I guess, but a very even color. I'm pretty sure they vacuum, have a big vacuum chamber or something. I don't know, I can't think very well. Here's the blade that Brian Ty heat treated for us. A lot more discoloration. But whatever, hard is hard. So now we have to figure out how to hard mill them and finish them up nice. Notice the two different grinds. Yeah, getting there. Okay, so it is now 11:30, almost Monday night. Eric and I have been working out in the garage all day. Hardly filmed anything because we've just been busy. I finally got the turning system to work to make thumb studs. And chink. Get this guy to focus. What do you think of that? What's with that burr? Oh, it's just dirt. In other news, Eric got all the blades Scotch-Brited smooth. From heat treat, they had a little bit of yellow color, but Scotch-Brite took that right off. Unfortunately, my disc sander is too wobbly to properly face down the blades like I wanted to, because that's how Brian Ty does all of his blades, and they look awesome. So it's still got a bit of like pitting. But I'm just going to say it gives it a cool look. This is the first run of knives. I cannot do everything perfect on the very first run of knives. And if the pitting is kind of one of the worst things about it, well, that's not too bad. Here are some of the thumb studs that I made previously, earlier today. Notice the big pip that's sticking off the top. I could not get around that. I know you machinists are going to say, you know, grind an angle into your carbide tool. I tried that, it just made it dull. So I just live with that, no big deal. And then to take it off, I basically screw it onto a screw, hold the screw in vice grips, and grind that off, and then polish it off on the Scotch-Brite wheel, and it works. I mean, this one looks awesome, so you can't even tell. So that's that. Let me... You gotta see this thing work. Alright, let me do another one for you. Alright, so here is my turning system. It's called gang tooling. It's where you put a lot of tools in a row, basically. Funny jokes aside, this works really good for lathe work. So I have an R8 collet, quarter-inch R8 collet in the thingy, holding a piece of quarter-inch titanium. It's actually .230 titanium, so it's quite a bit smaller than quarter. It helps anyway. Couple tools mounted up. Let's just let it run. I could talk about this for an hour, and I'll save that for another video. But just watch. Now it's going to spot the hole. Notice how the RPMs change with every tool. Now that drill bit is actually not big enough, so I'm going to a 1/16 inch end mill here, and I'm just opening up the hole a little bit more. And here, because I don't have the right drill bit, I have to use this guy. And then I put in the tapping head. And then hit go. And that didn't work. Notice the gap, hit the foot pedal, falls down, done. Ready for the next one. Now if you noticed, that didn't tap properly. The tap that I have in here is a form tap that actually broke, so it's shorter, and I ground the top part again, and I don't think I got a good angle on it. So the threads didn't bite. So I think I figured out why that one didn't tap properly. These calipers aren't that accurate for such a small hole. They measure about 3 thou under, but the drilled hole is supposed to be 0.95, and I opened it up. Let's call that 3 thou bigger, so it's now 0.98. I'm looking for about 101, 102. That would be the good 60% thread for this tap, so I need to go a little bit bigger. It worked for the last thumb stud because I used the end mill 3 or 4 times. And now that I'm doing it in just one pass, it didn't take off as much metal. So no big deal, I'll do it again and get it figured out. Alright, so it's much later, and I finally got this down to a science. Quick tip that I wanted to get down on video before I forget about it. The workpiece, like the titanium rod, was actually slipping up into the collet while I was trying to tap. So when it would go down, let's see if I can see there. When it would move down towards the tapping head, the rod would just kind of shove back up into the thing, and it was driving me nuts for like 45 minutes why every single part was a different thickness. It's supposed to be 135, some of them were 1.3, some of them were 1.19, 1.15, like all over the place. And it turns out it was slipping up, so I just had to tighten the bolt on the drawbar and give it more clamping pressure. Now, it works great. Just thought I would give you guys an update. Busy, 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 busy. It is 3 a.m. Tuesday morning. All the clips are done. Need to be anodized. All the blades are brightened up. Still need to be hard milled. All the diamond handles are done. Still got to pound in the detent ball, but that's no big deal. All the honeycomb handles are done, as well as the other diamond ones. Eric has been out here for 3 days, basically, scotch-brighting and polishing these things. Hard to see in this dark light, but come see me at Blade. Titanium paramilitaries are not going to happen for Blade. I'm bummed about that, but I think bringing Norsemans to the world's biggest knife show is a bit more important. So I gotta get these done. So today's Tuesday, 3 a.m. I'm gonna sleep for a little bit. I could kind of use some sleep. That means today's the last day that we have to do anything. Everything. So, thumb studs are taking forever. I love having the mill set up like this as a lathe, but it's a huge learning experience and I keep breaking stuff. It sucks. Not something you really want to do last minute. But I got 11 thumb studs done perfect. I think I can make more. I just gotta buy a drill bit in the morning. I still gotta make the spacers. They're almost more important than the thumb stud. And gotta hard mill the blades tomorrow. And then assemble, fit the lock on each and every one. Sharpen and anodize. And probably 14 other things that I can't think of right now. I'm going to bed. Finally got it. The right size drill bit made all the difference. Check this out. Check to make sure there's lots left. Down, hit the drawbar, it falls, zeroes itself perfectly. How cool is that? Super cool is the right answer. Unfortunately for you, it is time to wrap up this video because I just don't have time to film and get much more edited and stuff. However, no D10, no lockup yet, but assembled Norseman. Blade has been hard milled. This one's actually a bad example. All those little vertical lines that you see are a mistake. Fixed for the next one, not a big deal. But it's awesome. Kind of late, kind of hard to think straight, but a lot more work to do, so adios until next week. Off to Blade Show. Next week will pretty much be an at Blade Show Knife Making Tuesday. So thanks for watching, guys. Take care. Bye.